goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine. Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Coddington, joined by my fellow co-hosts and filmmakers, John and Lane Woolscroft.
It was at least better than The Force Awakens.
What?
What was?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just jumping into the episode right away.
You jumped.
You jumped really hard.
You jumped like 20 minutes into the episode.
Number one, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
To our Psycho Nation.
Psychos Nation. Psychos Nation. Yeah. If you didn't hear about that little tidbit that came out right around the new year, we're going to be doing a newsletter monthly. And what this newsletter basically does is, you know, for you guys who really want to get extra content, we produce a lot of stuff. And we think of a lot of things movie-wise that we want to put out there. But unfortunately, there's only so many weeks and so much time that we can get together and record. So we thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool to make a supplemental newsletter that you guys can get that gives us a rundown of the episodes for the month, as well as some extra content. Like I know, Elaine, you've wanted to do TV reviews for a while.
Yes, and that would be perfect.
You know,
talk about
and I like doing top fives of specific genres and things like that.
Now, Brian, is this like my holiday newsletter? In any way?
It could be.
I don't think it's going to last very long.
It could be. But ultimately, it's not really about what we want to do. It's what you guys want to see. Because the last thing I want is to put out something that, you know, you guys just like, well, fuck that. It's just another newsletter. It's going to go in my spam. So the floor is open to you guys who are listeners and who are fans. Tell us what you want to see in a monthly newsletter. We'll take it into advisement and we'll put it out there more than likely. Right now, the slate's pretty clean for us to do anything. So,
who's John feuding with?
Yeah, it could be anything like that.
Feuding implies that they care. Who's John angry at?
Derek Savage.
Yeah, Derek Savage of Cool Cat fame.
Of course. Well, here's the thing. You know, John's always juicy with new ideas. Mm-hmm. So,
I'm juicy.
You know, we'll let his cup runneth over occasionally into the newsletter.
His juice cup of ideas.
It's going to run everywhere, and fluid will run all over the place. It's
Elaine, would you say that I'm moist?
I would say that you're moist with ideas. It is your thing.
But if you want to join Psychos Nation, you know, the newsletter.
And we've made it sound pretty bad.
Yeah, we have.
Just moist and angry.
Moist and angry.
Perfect.
If you want to join us in this moist and angry venture, if you go on our website, you can also find it on Facebook as well. There is a sign-up form. You just need to put in your email address and your name, and you automatically get put into it. So every month you'll get a nice recap of the episodes as well as any other content that John swishes out of his juicy cup.
Brian, what?
And that's a thing.
Yeah. Wait, what about their socials, blood types, and driver's license numbers?
No, they don't. I don't need any of that.
Oh.
I don't need any of that. Don't need any of that right now.
Wink.
You blew
that was
our
for
cover.
people that can't see me winking.
You blew our cover. How dare you?
But I don't need any of that, for real.
Hold on. I'm going to actually get my wink close to the camera.
It's disgusting.
Did you guys hear it?
Wow, I'm going to throw up now. All right, so newsletter is the first item of business. You know, we are really excited about adding the extra content, guys. And if you have any suggestions, you know, feel free to tweet at us. We have the Twitter handles available at the end of every broadcast. You know, check out our website, check out our Facebook page. You know, just let us know what you guys are thirsting for. Okay.
Cool.
And check out our Grindr account.
Cool. So I thought we'd start 2018 on a nice, light, positive note. So I found a little news story today.
So what you're saying is nobody died.
Yeah. I mean, if they did, I'm not talking about it. So yeah, just New Year, and very unexpectedly, the news came out today that Ellen Page is married, and I thought that was nice.
That's good.
So
suck on that, Brett Ratner.
So yeah, we had mentioned her in passing with the whole Brett Ratner thing, but it's much nicer to talk about the lady herself. So it was a very big surprise, I guess, even though Ellen and her now wife are very prominent on social media. You know, they actually do like impromptu interpretive dance videos, and they do like video duets, like covers and stuff together on their social media. I think mostly Instagram, because her wife Emma Portner is a choreographer and a very successful one at that.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, all we really got to see were the wedding bands on their hands. But excuse me, Emma Portner's like main claim to fame is performing and choreographing a Justin Bieber video. She's also one of the youngest choreographers
That
to.
poor woman.
Yeah, seriously, I'm sorry.
Well, she's also one of the youngest women that have choreographed something that were on that was on Broadway. So she's a prominent entertainer in her own right.
So she's done like Broadway and hip hop.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's a choreographer, so
eclectic.
she's in dance. That's the common thread. But anybody who needs a little bit of like levity and some like serious cuteness in this new year that we are in, I highly recommend either woman's Instagram, because they are adorable. So
Well, and it's nice that they're happy, because that means that rat face hack fraud Brett Ratner has to suck on his words.
I imagine that right now Brett Ratner is looking very much like Gollum.
and it's for me, like,
just kind of like in a hole somewhere eating cheese and just going.
he doesn't even deserve another mention either. You know what I mean? Like, fuck that guy. And her happiness is separate from that asshole. So
Good for her.
See, I just imagine him just trying to get the moisture from under his man titties, so he doesn't like get chafing.
his middies.
His middies.
Or he's licking some executive's butthole. Like, am I licking deep enough to get some movie that no one else wants? Lick, lick, lick.
Like I did Justice League.
Yeah, he's gross. But anyway, congratulations to Ellen Page and to her new wife, and hopefully more adorableness will ensue from their social media for many years to come.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a little bit of a break and throw to a message from our friends over the Epicast Network. And when we come back, we'll be diving into our main course for this evening, which is Star Wars The Last Jedi.
What the hell is Star Wars?
There'll be lots of spoilers.
Hey, yo, I'm Ed Bailey. I'm here with
Dave Bracey.
And we are the Drinking Partners Podcast on Epicast Network. Fucked it up. Make sure you check us out, man. We got the Comedy Fuel, which is really supposed to be beer fueled comedy podcast, but
Craft fuel beer potter. Craft beer fuel pot. Motherfucker,
right.
man. I'm gonna have to write that down.
What up? Craft Fuel
Hold on,
Beer
hold on.
Podcast.
Yeah, craft fuel.
Craft Brew Filled Craft Beer Fuel Podcast. Okay. Craft Brew Fuel. Craft Beer Fuel Comedy. Those are not 4 words that you say normally. All right. Craft Brew. You knew that I was gonna fuck up. You knew. Craft Beer Fuel Comedy Podcast. All right, so Craft Beer Fuel Comedy Podcast on.
You can find us on epicastnetwork.com/partnerspod. You can find us at partnerspod on Facebook, Twitter, and IG. And you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Libsyn under Drinking Partners.
Yo, if you ain't heard and if you don't know, Drinking Partners is the crew, Epicast is the family. Make sure you check us out, man.
And we're back. That was a message from our friends over the Epicast Network, specifically the Drinking Partners Podcast. Definitely check those guys out over at epicastnetwork.com.
Hey, guys, I just thought of something. This is episode 84.
Yes, it is, because I forgot to say it.
We didn't talk about that or anything.
No, we didn't.
It just popped into my head.
I was too enthusiastic about Psycho's Nation to mention that it's episode 84. So, yeah, that was a thing. You got me on one ding, okay?
No, I was just filling in the blank because I don't think we were actually going to mention it.
Speaking of fill in the blank, how about the plot holes in Last Jedi?
Wait, I thought this was called Star Wars The Last Airbender. Am I getting my movies mixed up?
You are.
There was like a little kid that controlled nature and stuff. Did I see the wrong movie?
You saw the wrong movie.
Oh, damn it. I wonder why it sucks so bad.
I mean, there's still a pissed off teen in there. You got that in there. Both of them.
All right. Well,
Oh,
guys,
God.
before we dive in, can we give a 10-second how we feel about it before we start breaking it down? Lane, starting with you.
I dug it. I mean, I did not like it as much as Force Awakens, but in a way that, Rogue One felt like a complete farce of everything I loved about the Star Wars franchise. I mean, this still felt like a Star Wars movie, felt like a Star Wars story. I was moved a few times. Was it perfect? No. Did it have problems? Yes. But, it's much more fun to talk about that than just to say I like bawled with like the perfection of Serenity for 2 hours. Like, that's dumb,
It was average popcorn fluff. And it's weird because I know that people have started treating Star Wars like a religion.
They've been treating Star Wars like a religion for a very long time.
But it was niche. It was people like us. But I feel that now everybody is flipping out over Star Wars. There are people that pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to sit in a room to watch a trailer that they could see online 10 minutes later.
People do the same thing with Batman in '89.
I have a lot to say about the fan response to the movie.
But
we haven't given our spoiler warning yet, so we're going to get their reactions. Yeah. So you thought it was popcorn.
But yeah, and like, I don't know, people are really freaking out, guys. Like, I love Star Wars too, but it's just Star Wars. Like, what? I just think we need to relax a little.
Yeah.
But, it was all right. It was kind of disposable, which, you don't want your Star Wars movie to be. It felt like Justice League to me. Disposable that way.
I could not disagree more. Especially because I watched Justice League recently.
Oh yeah, how'd you like that? Yeah, I saw that for the show, you motherfuckers. I'm the only one that pays attention to the schedule.
Oh shit. Well, that's a story for another day. I thought that this was great. I seriously dug what Rian Johnson was doing. I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Elaine. Is it perfect? Hell no.
Right.
And are there things as a Star Wars fan that I would have liked to have seen? Absolutely. And did I see those? Not really. But especially because I was paying attention to like all the Snoke theories and who were Rey's parents and all that shit. I was watching those Mike Zero videos and Star Wars Explained and that's those things on YouTube that a lot of the same people who flipped out also watched. So I was in on it. I was like, I'm expecting to see this. I'm expecting to see that. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't see that.
Right.
But when I took a step back and asked myself, how is this as a movie? And what is the movie trying to say? I got what they were trying to say. I latched onto it and I was like, okay. And it was almost like what you're saying. Take a step back. It's a story about space wizards and laser swords.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what this is. That's what this is.
God, how many times are you going to say that on the show?
But I was okay with it. That's what I'm saying, is I was okay with it, and I'm looking forward to the next one. I'm not someone's going, oh, fuck them. I'm okay with it.
Well, how deep in are we going to get before we say get the fuck out, spoilers everywhere, get out now?
I'd say this was the last moment of that. So, fair warning.
I feel all of America has seen this movie by now.
Right, and that's why we waited. That's why we didn't do it like in December. We waited until January to talk about it. Especially because if you listen to the 84 or 83 podcasts, aside from this one, you know that we spoil the shit out of all movies. Because
are we on episode 84?
We're on episode 84. But if they were to look at the other ones, then that's 83. Yeah. So, but anyway, the point is, we spoil the shit out of the movies because there's really no way for us to really digest and give you guys an honest review of it without going into the plot points and the character points. So that's why we spoil it. So spoiler warning, come back in, I don't know, maybe an hour, 45.
I mean, maybe skip this
So when we give our Twitter handles, you mean?
Yeah, just come back then.
Listen to that,
episode,
please.
Guys. It's fine.
I'll probably say something stupid
or hang around because you're like most of the people in this country, in this world, who've already gone and seen Star Wars. If you're not, go and see Star Wars first, then come back, listen to us.
Feed the mouse.
Yeah. So,
feed the mouse.
Or I don't know, you can find it on the internet somewhere. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Let's talk about the the whole idea of like the fan expectations, because I think this is the most interesting part. So, Brian, you were saying you were really invested in the fan theories, and this movie basically told us to go fuck ourselves.
It did, and
because it doesn't matter who Snoke was because he's fucking dead, and it doesn't matter how what Rey's place is in this because apparently she's just some rando.
That's bullshit, by the way.
It's not bullshit. I don't think. I love and hate those two things.
Okay.
The one I hate is that Snoke was utterly pointless to anything.
Okay.
he was completely useless.
I think to exist to be subverted was very interesting.
That you're trolling your audience that way?
Well, not trolling, but I mean,
Well-
I think, when you have a juggernaut like Star Wars, you have to speak to the fans in a way.
I'm not saying that he had to be Darth Plagueis or the reincarnation of
And
the
Bib
Emperor,
Palpatine.
but he had to have some relevancy other than, ooh, look, I can throw you across the room and I control Kylo Ren's thoughts and I'm dead.
Here is why I'm okay with it. And I was someone who was like, I think it's Darth Plagueis. I mean, I remember talking to you about it, like, I think it's Plagueis, or I think it's this person.
We
or
talk about Star Wars every other week on this show.
We do, but what I'm saying is I'm someone who you would think would be pissed off. I was not, because I took a step back and I thought, I'm like, okay, in Episode 3, as also was mirrored in Return of the Jedi, you have always the apprentice saying, we'll kill the Emperor and we'll take over. They've never done that. That's never really happened. You could make the argument, well, Darth Vader threw the Emperor down the shaft.
He wasn't evil anymore.
But the point is you never had like Anakin pre-Vader killing the Emperor, taking over. This was the only time that I've ever seen the apprentice actually kill the master and say, yeah, I'm taking the fuck over now. And that was ballsy. That was something we haven't seen before. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because, one, we don't have to have everything explained. We have to take a step back and be like...
But a character has to matter to the
You're
story.
right, but we're also in the middle chapter of a trilogy. So it's very possible that we could get more information either in the next film, which I imagine, thinking logistically about how Disney is going to deal with this because they only care about money. They're not, deaf to the fact that the diehard fans are pissed off. So my guess is they're going to do exactly what happened with the first trilogy, which a lot of people believe that, it was already preordained, written down. No, it wasn't. Each movie was done on its own time. Okay, so my guess is they're going to come back to Episode 9, and they're going to explain shit about Snoke, and that Rey's parents are going to be someone that we know. They'll throw us those two bones, because those are the two big things that pissed off people the
Rey's
most.
parents aren't going to be anybody. So that's, okay.
I think it will be.
So you were okay with what I was pissed about, and I am okay with what you're pissed about.
Yeah.
I love that Rey is nobody.
It means so much more if she is. I completely agree with you, John, because it means that anybody can be a hero. And the idea that, everyone's so wrapped up in the Skywalker legacy and the Jedi, didn't this movie just show us that the Jedi are kind of idiots?
They've always been idiots.
And they've always been, and they shouldn't be something that's revered, and maybe it's okay if they die out, And as far as Luke goes, Luke is, Luke is, a very obviously a prominent part of the film, even though he's not necessarily in a ton of screen time. But the idea that Rey is in no way a Skywalker or a Kenobi, maybe
she's a Calrissian.
Now that this is the story, I think that this is essential to keep going forward. Now, what really sucks is that the third movie hasn't been completely written yet, and they're making this up as they go along. Nobody wrote the story for the 3 movies to have continuity.
Well, neither did George Lucas.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the first ones were all basically pulled out of his ass, as they were going along. They were not, as he likes to say, all written down in 1969 or 1970 when he was originally.
I was in a car accident and I wrote all these.
It's like
Dude,
bullshit.
he was in a car accident though, y'all. He should have died in that car accident.
But he didn't write the entire arc of it.
So this part isn't written yet, but man, if I thought for a second that anyone involved with the film was ever going to listen to our podcast, I'd probably shit my pants. But I mean, if anyone out there is listening, I think it is absolutely essential that Rey stay nobody. I don't think that it helps the story. I think it takes away from the story. If there's some sort of
I just think. I mean, I'm okay with her being nobody. I'm okay with that. With what Kylo Ren's saying being true. There are reasons beside the fact that I think Disney doesn't want to piss the fans off too much, because they're greedy and they just want money, and they know that if people are pissed off about the Star Wars movies, the actual canon, not just the Rogue One. I mean, they're okay with people being pissed off about Rogue One. They didn't give a shit. They're like, we got your money, no big deal. But if people are coming into Episode 9 thinking, you know what, Episode 8 gave me a bad taste in my mouth, I'm not going to spend my money on a ticket, that affects their bottom line, because there are a lot of those people who are diehard, fanboys who lose their shit if their theory isn't held up. Now, I think they're going to throw a bone to those people in the third one. I just think that's just what they do.
Well, I hope not, because that is negotiating with a hostile opponent.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can't just bow down to what the neckbeards want.
But that's
I'm sorry,
that's their
These
audience.
movies make $20 trillion. I don't think that's their audience. I think that's the loudest piece of their audience.
Agreed.
I know the way these people think.
Well, and I don't disagree with you, but I just don't think the numbers are going to pull, because the thing is, yeah, you're pissed. In 2 years, when the new Star Wars movie's out, you're going to forget that you were pissed about this one as a neckbeard. You're going to go fucking see it.
Not those guys. The reason why they won't forget is because there is an entire section of YouTube that quite literally is nothing but daily updates about the next movie over and over and over again.
And they were all wrong.
And they were all wrong, and that's what I'm saying. The bad taste is never going to go away when they're keep reminded about it every fucking day. I see these YouTube videos.
I don't think it's going to hurt their bottom line.
I mean, this is just how this goes, especially with Star Wars. I mean, you see it to a lesser degree with like the Marvel movies, or the big totem franchise, but you see it mostly with Star Wars. There are some people that are going to say this is the greatest one ever, or the greatest one since Empire, and then you're going to see the same amount of people that say this is the biggest glass of diarrhea juice that they ever shove in my ear. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't please everybody all the time, which they desperately try to do. And that's why I really thought when Disney bought Star Wars, they should have just done stories that didn't involve the Skywalkers. And so we could have told different stories that maybe nobody had, like, is it Palpatine? Oh, is it Luke's kid? Are we going to see Luke do this? Are we going to see Han do that? Like, they could have just gone in and said, this is Star Wars. Here are a bunch of different stories with different people.
Yeah, but we wouldn't have connected as strongly. I mean, like, you're not dealing with a film.
Berries.
You're not dealing with, a story. You're dealing with a phenomenon. You're dealing with the kind of, a legacy of entertainment that, people in 2 generations now had a long-standing relationship with before, any of this started to get stirred up to make more money. Like the stakes are really high. And I think one of the things that they did successfully manage to do is they started to fucking kill some bitches off. Like, I mean, Han died in the last one. Luke died in this one.
He's not really dead.
And he's one with the Force.
He's going to be a Force ghost. He's the only one left.
Still, I mean, I'm sure you guys can see the symbology of what's happening, of them phasing these people out.
Yeah. And as I said, here's the thing. If Episode 9 comes out, and Rey still is a nobody, I'm fine with that. I want to put that down there. I'm fine with that being the case. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with never hearing about Snoke again. However, I know who they're trying to cater to. They're trying to cater to the same people they catered to when they made Force Awakens, because the sole job, and we both talked about this, of Force Awakens was to get rid of the bad taste of the prequels out of fans' mouths.
It was.
That's what the job was. And who's the person now who's going to be directing Episode 9? JJ, the same guy who did the same thing. So he's basically the fixer for Disney.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I thought the Ryan guy was directing Episode 9.
No, he's not. He's doing a whole new trilogy.
JJ's writing it. JJ's apparently writing it in conjunction with someone else.
He's directing it.
Is he directing it?
Yeah.
That is a shame, because I think that a woman should have directed the 3rd installment.
Oh, I absolutely agree.
Only white men can direct Star Wars.
John, I'm going to punch you in the dick. Don't talk to me like that again.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
I mean, there's
going to be a dick punching on the show.
I mean, we're joking around, but, like, don't say that. Like, I mean, I think that, like, we do not need another voice saying that only white men can direct Star Wars. Do you know how frustrating that is?
I was being sardonic.
I know you are. I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's one of those things that you just don't want to hear at this point, because it's absolutely absurd.
I was just pointing out how they brought Ron Howard in to fix the Han Solo movie.
Which is so dumb. Like,
it's
why?
Only been white men.
I don't need another old white dude in my Star Wars universe, because
I think they should get Patty Jenkins to it.
that would be awesome.
Look what she did with Wonder Woman, for God's sake. You're telling me you can't do the same thing?
No, absolutely.
I'm saying that JJ's a fixer. That they knew that they were going to get this kind of reaction, and it's fine for the middle chapter of a trilogy to do this. But a lot of people forget that Empire was panned by most fans
Because
when
it
it
was so
first came out. That's exactly the same point. I'm like, you're doing the same thing. So that's what I'm saying. They're gonna throw a bone in episode 9 because JJ's doing it.
Well, I think it's a very dangerous position to be in, to have something like entertainment, because I think that at the end of the day, for filmmakers, your only job, your only responsibility is to tell a good story. And if you're just going to let the fans dictate what you do, when the fans are misguided, the fans are idiots.
Fans don't know what the fuck they want. I'm sorry.
They don't know what
As
they
a
want.
fan, I don't know what the fuck I want.
And that's why I went to the movie with no expectations.
Well, no, there's so many more expectations with these films than that. I don't mean to sound cynical, but they don't care if they tell a good story. They care if they make $2 billion.
Right. I mean, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying that it's wrong. Like, that should not be the focus. The focus is the responsibility and the honor of telling a good Star Wars story, and living up to, what the legacy has been all these years.
Do you think Disney bought Star Wars to tell good stories?
No, of course not, John. I mean, I don't need to be reminded of the cynical nature of this business. I'm just saying that it's fucked up. Like, that's not how it should be. Like I said, my favorite thing about the movie was that they fucking cut Snoke in half. Who fucking cares who he is, bitches? He's dead now. Like, that was awesome to me, that they didn't give a fuck.
Well, I saw it as that is the only logical place to go for Kylo Ren's character.
And I think that Snoke, John, you were wondering what the point of his character was in total. I think more importantly, his relationship to Kylo Ren and what we learn about Kylo Ren through Snoke is the point of it to the story. Is that more of a device than a real character? Yeah, and that sucks. But I think that that's his only point.
Kylo Ren is useless. He got buried in this movie.
Well, isn't he the most amazing example of like toxic masculinity though?
But he's a horrible villain because I laugh at him.
He's ridiculous.
He's inept. He got schooled by Luke. He couldn't do anything correctly. He's a joke. Like, could you imagine laughing at Darth Vader? Because I can't, but I laugh at Kylo Ren. He's useless and a brat, and he gets schooled all the time, and his emotions get the better. I'm like, he's a Looney Tunes villain.
He kind of is, and it wasn't so much. It wasn't so much a Looney Tunes villain in the last one, but in this one, he really is. Like, there are just some things that he does. I'm just like, you're a pathetic excuse for a Vader. And even Snoke calls him out as a pathetic excuse for Vader. And that's why when he kills him, I knew that was coming. I had a feeling like he's going to kill him.
He's incompetent. He's useless. He doesn't do anything in the film. He's called average. He's called useless by his superiors. Yeah. And at the end of the movie, he's just schooled by Luke and made to look like a fool, and then lets the resistance get away.
But I loved it.
But what is the point if you don't feel there's any consequences to the villain?
Because
he's going to fall off the cliff each time.
Well, here's the thing, though. Now he's an incompetent asshole who's in charge of the First Order. Sounds a little familiar, doesn't it? Incompetent leader in charge of a government.
That doesn't make a good drama.
Oh, you're doing a thing.
I know what you're... Yeah, I see what you're doing here.
He's doing a thing.
I see what you're doing
Just saying. Imitating life.
Yeah, well, Palpatine was supposed to be Nixon to a degree as well.
Yeah, but there's always pulled from something. But I'm just saying, like, if you look at Kylo Ren, he's okay. He managed to kill Snoke, who had a hand in building up the First Order from the ashes of the Empire, and now Kylo Ren is in charge of it, and he's a crazy person.
Because I don't know anything about Snoke. They never told me anything about him.
And you guys don't think that the background, of learning what had happened between him and Luke, you don't think that fleshed him out at all?
To a degree, I think that was good to see, and I suspected that was the case.
And I think that
something like that happened.
Yeah, I think it explains his emotional volatility as well. I think that's a big part of what we're seeing in this like sort of new type of villain. I think that a lot of the older villains like Palpatine, like Vader, they were a little one-dimensional because we didn't really know why they did the things that they did. They just were evil, and sometimes that can be boring. But I mean, I see a very conflicted character with Kylo Ren. I'm not saying I'm super pro Kylo Ren, and I don't think he's hot like many other women do. But if you do, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think that there's a little bit more to him. And what I thought was really interesting was his connection with Rey in this movie, and how I don't know how the hero and the villain like spoke to each other in a film. Like I'd never really seen that in this genre before, where they're relating to each other like almost emotionally. I mean, they had that connection where they kept talking, and where you get the closure and get those questions, where she's crying and she's like, how could you do that to Han, and and everything. You don't get that confrontation between the hero and the villain. It's always just an unspoken conflict. But bringing those out, I thought was very interesting. And I mean, and the scene where they touch hands, and he's like right there by the fire, like, I mean, that gave me goosebumps. Like, that was really cool because I hadn't seen that aspect to the villain-hero relationship before.
Yeah, no, I was cool with that aspect of it. I didn't think they had to do the whole, like, we're going to get this perspective and then this perspective and that whole shit. I'm like, why couldn't you just do, like, the full Force talking like Luke and Vader did with the wipes? Yeah,
you could. I mean,
like that was fine.
It was very visually rich the way that they chose to do it, though, I thought.
Do you mean when Kylo was talking to Daisy Ridley?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was. What was the point of him being shirtless? Was that a attempt at shoehorning comedy?
Shirtless Kylo Ren. Shirtless Kylo Ren challenge.
Was that to get like some kind of internet thing?
I was reading that had to do with like a throwback to Anakin shirtless in the prequels.
I don't think that's why they did it, but it is a coincidence.
I think it was forced comedy. I really do.
I do too, John, because
there was a lot
not
of that.
Just him being shirtless, but like, Rey has like a smart comment, and it was just to try to bring a little levity to it. And again, I mean, I'm not saying it was necessarily successful, but I think the goal was to make Kylo Ren a little bit more relatable, a little bit more complex, because for a minute there, I really thought he was going to be like, fuck it, Rey, let's go like do some good shit. I'm on the light side now, or at least I'm a gray Force user.
No, I never thought that.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying you did. I'm saying I did.
Yeah.
Like I thought for a second, I was like, wait, is this going to go that what? And then, I mean, it didn't, which of course, the evil is the evil, but but it was interesting because those moments of his vulnerability, I thought gave me, it changed my expectations instead of me just like knowing for sure that he was going to be completely evil the whole time, which would have been boring,
Well, I mean, I had a feeling that he was going to. The point of this movie was to solidify who our heroes and who our villains are, and that's a good thing for a 3-arc film. You're introduced to them in the beginning, and then during the second chapter, you find out what side they are on. Rey comes into this film very conflicted, very similar to Kylo Ren. And by the end of it, you know that she is the hero that the movie needs. And you know that Kylo is the villain that the movie needs. There is no, redemption for Kylo Ren. The whole path of this trilogy is the hero's journey and the villain's journey. And the villain's journey is just as important as the hero's journey in this movie, but I don't foresee him being redeemed at the end of it.
Right, and at this point, I don't either. But I think it's fascinating because as a writer, one of the things that they try to remind you is don't forget, like, the villain is the hero of his own story. It's all about perspective. And I thought the way that they showed what had happened at the Jedi Academy from his perspective and from Luke's perspective, I always talk about that, when you talk about like history or like a story, that even if it happened in like your own family, the truth is always in the middle.
Yeah.
Like your mom tells you one version, your dad tells you another, and like they're completely different. So the truth is in the middle, right? And I feel like it's really interesting to see exactly what was going on in both of their heads, to see it through the two different perspectives, to realize that it is nebulous. And obviously I don't condone evil, but you see how Kylo Ren went astray. You see how he went from, scared Ben Solo, to being something else.
I really didn't care for that at all. Just in the way that...
Tell us how you really feel, John.
I think I was polite there. No, but with The Force Awakens, like, their success in Return of the Jedi, it's useless now, meaningless because Han Solo's dead and they're all sad and the Empire took back over. In this one, he doesn't kill Vader because he wants to prove to the Emperor that a Jedi believes in a higher moral code and it's more about spirituality than it is about fighting. And if you have to kill me, you have to kill me, but I'll never join the dark side. until he gets a student like 15 years later that shows some dark side tendencies, and he's going to cut his face off in his sleep.
Okay, now
but that's Kylo Ren's perspective.
here's the thing, though.
Luke still puts his lightsaber to him from his perspective,
right?
too.
But
Right,
here's
I'm
the
not
thing.
saying he didn't.
Here's the thing I will point, and it's one thing that I really appreciate about this particular film. These heroes are fallible. And that is something we're not used to. When we think of Luke Skywalker, when we think of Princess Leia, when we think of Han Solo, we think of them as always in the right. They've never done anything wrong. They never fucked up.
Well, Han Solo's always fucked up.
Right, but he fucks up in a way that always seems to come out his way.
And he sort of saved the day at the end.
And he did.
A
That
New
was the
Hope.
one time he didn't fuck up, you know? And even as he dies in Force Awakens, you know, he's gone, you find out his whole life after Return of the Jedi has been kind of one fuck up from the next. So I liked the fact that these heroes are fallible, and they're more vulnerable than we're used to. And I think it's hard for us who grew up on Star Wars being a very black and white, good, evil, good choices, bad choices, and coming into a movie that's very realistic. I mean, a lot of things can happen in 30 years to change between when you were, you know, in your 20s to when you were in your 60s. What is he supposed to be, like 50 or 60?
Probably.
Around that?
Brian, 30 plus 20 is 50.
Okay, so there you go. 50.
Well, we don't really know how old Luke is by the end
No.
of the first trilogy. I mean, he's like 17 in the first film, but
Right.
we don't really know how many years
But-
have passed.
But the point is that a lot can happen in that time, and a lot that hasn't been explained. And I appreciated the fact that everything in this movie was about failure. Poe Dameron is a failure at the beginning as a leader, okay? It's his arc of, I need to go from hotshot pilot who's good in the cockpit, but you suck as a resistance leader, and you don't see the big picture.
Brian, are you reveling in that nobody accomplished anything in this movie?
I'm reveling in that it shows the flaws of our heroes, yes.
Well, and too, just to go back to what you were saying, John, you know, about believing in the Force and not wanting to join the dark side, and then, oops, he turns around and tries to murder a student. I mean, it's much more nuanced than that. Yeah, he does pull his lightsaber out in both
I said it was a
versions.
moment.
But too, I mean, like, you have to think about, you know, the internal dialogue that we don't get to see because it is a film. You know, Luke walking over there from his own tent, you know, being like, Luke, you're being crazy. Like, he's just a kid. It's fine. But, like, knowing something is wrong with that child, like, going, you know, and into the tent and being like, you know, well, I just want to watch him sleep. I want to see what he's doing just to see if I can be sure. You know, so he force touches him in his sleep. He sees all the darkness in this kid. He's scared for a minute, you know, and I see you smirk at force touch in his sleep, but I'm trying to be serious.
I couldn't help it. It was funny.
but I mean, he makes a connection with the sleeping Ben. He's afraid. You know, it's more about, you know, self-preservation than anything else at that point. And like Brian said, it's just a moment. It was the wrong moment, and it was
Right.
the wrong move, and it was a failure. But I mean, that's what a lot of this movie was about, was Luke's failings as a teacher.
It wasn't just his failings. It was everyone who we view as heroes and even villains. Kylo was viewed as a failure as a villain, you know?
But like you said, you know, with the teachings and what was put on Luke as trying to be, you know, this new, you know, wave of Jedi knowledge and trying to like bring in the new era of Jedi Knights, you know, I mean, as a teacher, he failed them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Lane, doesn't fear lead to anger? Doesn't anger lead to hate? Doesn't hate lead to the dark side?
It does. And the heroes failed. We've been telling you that for like 20 minutes. Like, it's about human weakness.
Yeah.
You know?
And the thing is, too, you have to understand that Luke had it drilled into his brain by Yoda and Obi-Wan and his experience with the Empire and Vader and the Emperor of how dangerous the dark side is. And
how easy.
How easy it is. And how he only had love at the time to overcome that path to the dark side. Now, you can say, well, why didn't that happen then? As I said, a lot of things can change between the end of Return of the Jedi and this
would
movie.
have taken place,
So I imagine that over the course of the time, he grew up a little bit from just being idealistic to a point, thinking, oh, love can just solve it. And that's why it was only a brief flash where that fear of what can happen if you go down the dark path hit him, you know? So I'm okay with it because, as I said, the whole movie is about the fallibility of our heroes and the lessons that our heroes need to learn. Luke ended up at the end of this movie being the teacher that he was supposed to be.
He redeemed himself.
I love that ending. You know, yeah, the comedy part is a little hammy, but honestly, I was like going, oh yeah, fuck yeah. You know, it was great.
Well, Brian, I think that if you're talking about the hardcore fanboys, I think that's where they're going to lose them more than, you know, Daisy Ridley's character. Why can't I remember her name?
Rey.
Not, you know, being a Skywalker or Kenobi or anything like that. It's that, oh, the Force is nebulous and the Jedis are corrupt and this and that. Like, that's what's going to lose the hardcore fanboys.
Well, yeah, you're going to... What I'm saying, though, is that for the past 2 years, all I have seen are videos on YouTube, and that's where all these people pretty much are. They're on there. Okay, they're on YouTube, they're on these fan sites, and all it is Snoke theories and who are Rey's parents, and you could blame Disney for that one too. They set it up for that.
Well, J.J. Abrams is a TV director, and
yes.
He made a TV movie with Force Awakens. Not a TV movie like a movie made for television, but
no.
He made an episode of a TV series and like watch the rest of the season for everything to unfold.
Right.
That's not how you make a film,
right? But
J.J.
But what I'm saying is that if you have been spoon-fed on a daily basis nothing but Snoke theories and...
But is that Disney's fault, or is that all the fans' fault?
I think it's a combination of both.
It's Disney's fault. They're the ones in
I think
control.
I think it's a combination of both. I think fans have an idea in their head of what they think Star Wars is and should be and should follow.
Well, to pull an
and Disney preys on that too.
Well, to pull an exaggerated example to make a point, if I thought Snoke was Jar Jar Binks and I go in this movie and he's not Jar Jar Binks, whose fucking fault is that? If I'm upset, it's mine.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Well, I think it's a combination. I think that Disney wants the fans engaged. They want them to think about the Snoke theories. They want them to be as engaged and as ready as ever to buy their shit, because that's all they care about is you buying shit. They don't care about making a good movie.
Well, too, guys, I mean, we could talk about the studio system, you know, at length for all of the reasons that you guys are saying. You know, I don't really want to talk about the fans anymore or the studio anymore. I feel like there's a lot more content we need to get through.
That's true.
As far as the film itself goes, because I think that there was a few things that were, you know, really interesting about this film.
Yeah.
You know, I really liked Laura Dern's character.
The purple hair.
Excuse me, Holdo. She has a name.
Holdo?
She's a vice admiral, for God's sake. I'm just kidding. But no,
Admiral Ellie Sadler.
I thought it was.
She's an admiral of 5 people. Okay.
Well, I mean, she's the goddamn boss of the resistance at this point.
Yeah.
She was an interesting character.
I thought it was interesting because, you know, obviously John and I saw this movie the day it came out, the 15th, and now we're into January. So we haven't had many conversations about the film, but we've had a couple. And one of the things that, you know, he and I got to talking about was just, you know, how Holdo is presented. And I think it's interesting that, you know, you hear Poe say, "Oh, she's not what I expected." Like, you know, she's in, you know, beautiful gown, she has the jewelry, she has the hair, and she's still a badass. And I really liked that they brought forward that whole thing of, you know, showing that, you know, you can be feminine and still have strength, because, you know, I know that the basic thought is that you have to be hard to be strong, even as a woman. But I liked that they showed you could be soft in appearance and still be, you know, a shit kicker.
Well, don't forget, Elaine, Poe also didn't trust her because she had a vagina.
Well, I think that was a wonderful aspect of things too. Because
let my penis fix
because
this for
Poe
you,
got his
dame.
ass kicked, and you know, and for Poe to be such a fan favorite, you know, such a likable character in the first film, for him to carry the shoulder of this storyline of not listening to the women in charge. I mean, as a lady, I related to that really hard. Where like even a great guy like Poe wouldn't fucking listen to the chain of command. That was very relatable.
I liked it because it's different from how this type of scene would go down in any other movie. In any other movie, the boss would be the one who doesn't have the right idea, who's doing the wrong thing, and the hero cop, or so to speak,
hot shot.
Hot shot. He's the guy who knows what's really good.
Fly boy.
Yeah, but that is not at all what happened.
No, it blows up
and
in
I
his
love it. I love
face.
it. I really do.
It does. I thought, again, like, they did a lot of great things about subverting the genre, taking our expectations and just shoving them up our ass. Like, I liked that. I liked that it was different. You know, it was stuff that I never would have thought of, in terms of a Star Wars movie. I liked that they didn't necessarily take, the legacy as seriously in the sense of like taking those situations and making them completely different than how they usually play out. But I thought that was like a really important thing to see. I didn't cry at Carrie Fisher as much as I thought I would. I cried a couple times, but I thought that she gave a really good performance in this movie.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't know that you were going to say that because I wanted to immediately say, and I know I'm going to get some groans from you guys. I thought she was kind of bad in this movie.
Oh, really?
She seemed tired, and her delivery was flat. Like,
is there a chip in your brain that just disagrees with everything I say?
No.
Okay.
No.
Just checking.
No, I didn't think she was terrible, and I thought the end scene with her and Mark Hamill was pretty charming.
I like that.
It was great.
Yeah,
I loved it.
I felt that she looked old and tired, and I think she kind of phoned this performance in, not on purpose, but just because she just didn't.
It's not her fault. I felt that.
I thought she was good.
I mean, for me, I felt that they didn't give her enough to do.
I mean, I will say that flying.
I want my part where I sleep most of the movie.
No, but I'm being honest with you. You've got, barring her unfortunate passing aside,
Of course.
She was alive when they made this movie. And they didn't give her anything to do other than fly out in space and do a Mary Poppins in space.
That was
and
weird, guys.
That was fucked up.
Like
I
that.
hate that shit.
Well, she used the Force.
The Force doesn't
she
work
did.
that way.
She did, but I mean,
you can float using the Force.
You can't. You need air.
Well, apparently,
you need air
it was
for
like
the Force.
the
Wait,
You
okay,
need
where's that,
airs.
Lane? Do you need air for the Force?
I don't think so.
Metachlorians, bitch.
Midichlorians aren't a thing.
Midichlorians are in your bloodstream.
We've canceled out the midichlorians. Well, I think it was that moment
Wrinkles are
right
still
before,
canon.
the infinite ice of space would like close your lungs. I think that was the window in which
just-
we were operating.
No.
It was absurd. I mean, and it's ridiculous to say that something was absurd in a fucking space opera.
Yes, I know.
But it was rough.
A
That
space
was
fantasy movie. Yeah.
rough. That I did not enjoy that. Though, I'll tell you what, I was willing to overlook it, though, because I was so happy she wasn't dead in the movie. Because when her bridge got blown up, I was like full on fucking waterworks. I was like, no, this is stupid. She's dead and she wasn't even in this much of a movie. I'm so mad. I was
mad.
holding
your hand.
I was
You
so
were
mad. I was
visibly
so
shaken.
miserable.
I was
sad.
waiting for the moment where she's gonna be like, she's dead now. Like I was waiting. I'm like, they're gonna kill her. They're gonna fucking kill her.
know.
And now they fucking killed Luke. She's the only one left,
I
and she
know.
can't be in the next movie.
I know.
Well, Luke kills himself because he strained too hard on the toilet, and now he's gone. But
He did a giant force poop.
Are you
he's
guys
just
really?
meditating and just squeezing too hard, fighting Kylo, and pop, something in his brain.
Are you guys really talking about like Dookie aneurysms when like the greatest like leader and legend of the galaxy fucking dies in this movie?
Okay, first off,
Force
apparently,
Dookie. Okay,
apparently
Force Dookie.
he is a attempted child murderer. Secondly, apparently the Jedi are useless. Apparently the Force is a load of crap. And yes, he pooped
never
himself
said
when
the
he died.
Force is a load of crap.
Nobody said that.
He never said that.
Nobody
he said
said
it's
that.
more than lifting rocks, and he's right.
Who are the real users of the Force? The Jedi mostly. There, you can be Force sensitive and not be a Jedi, but
Dude,
it's
I
the
want
Jedi.
the stories
The
from
Wills
corners
are
of the
technically
universe.
the original Force users.
I want the stories from like the corners of the universe where people are Force sensitive, but they don't even fucking know what the Jedi are, and they like use it to help them work and stuff. Like, I want those stories of people who have no idea.
You mean
why they
like
have
that
these powers.
end shot with the kid who uses the Force to grab the broom?
Pretty dope. Not gonna lie, it was a good way to end the
Did
movie.
you just fart too hard and like books fly off your shelves? You know, it's just like, oh my god, what happened?
Guys, no more Force poop. We gotta talk about
Yeah,
Finn now.
well, let's. Okay, Finn. He was pretty much the same as the last time, which is for better or worse. He was
It
pretty
was
good.
alright.
I thought there were some good lessons.
He's
liked,
kind of doofy.
I liked
kinda.
Kelly
He's
Tran in
kind of
this a lot.
doofy.
Yeah,
I've never seen Kelly Tran in anything before, and I
Yeah,
really like her.
I hate her. I hate her character.
Cool,
I have
cool.
nothing against the actress. I just realized
Cool.
I said I hate her. I hate the character.
You just hate the
so you
fact
hate
that
Rose.
she's like a fangirl over Finn,
Well, I hate it.
and then
well,
realizes that
And
he's
again,
a failure.
Flawed heroes, right?
I hated everything about the casino planet. It was totally useless.
It was so pretty.
Yeah.
It was pointless to the entire movie.
So pretty.
And like, I want to save the dog horses. Okay.
They were so cool looking. Can we talk about how cool looking everything was? Everything was really good visually.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I would hope so.
I mean, here's the thing, though. are you thinking of how cool something is, or what does it serve for the plot?
It did. I mean, it didn't. I'm not saying that like
Give me-
changes anything.
I mean, the one thing I could say is that particular segment of the story is Poe's failure.
Yeah, it is.
That's his plan. His plan was a fucking failure.
Well, and two,
Hey.
again, what a great way to subvert things. You know, like the heroes go off on their little side mission, fucking blows up in their face. It was kind of awesome.
Like, guys, give me $600 million and Mark Hamill on Red Bull, and I'll make a pretty good movie too.
But I'll be honest.
Visually.
But I'll be honest about something. That is very similar to Empire with the Millennium Falcon going in that giant slug thing in the meteor shower. Okay, that little side mission was kind of stupid.
No,
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one.
Why?
Because we got more of the actual character development, unlike these characters.
You
that
got
were
character
hollow.
development. This.
You mean that Han was kind of rapey? Ugh.
You got no. You
That was the 80s,
whoa there for a minute. Okay, we got character development in the Canto Bite stuff between Finn
in the
and
casino.
Rose,
Yeah.
as well
I didn't
as
hate
the
the
introduction
casino scene.
of that stable boy that apparently has some importance that we're not going to know about for the next 2 years.
That was just to explain that whole casino planet to begin with. But we haven't talked about how Rose had almost ruined the whole movie when Finn's going to save the day and actually redeeming his entire character and actually having probably the best arc in the movie, and she crashes into him, nearly killing both of them.
No,
not
I
really.
disagree.
Oh, guys.
No, I mean, come
that
on.
ruined the movie.
You just wanted to see him dead.
No, I think that the idea that she crashes into him, possibly killing them both, because love will conquer evil or something like that. Now they're going to... She doesn't know... She didn't read the script. She doesn't know Luke's going to stand outside there and get them all out, and that, she's coming in with the Millennium Falcon. She killed them because she is attracted to Finn.
No, she didn't. She saved Finn from himself. He was going to murder himself, and it wasn't going to make a fuck bit of difference.
You also have to
He would have
understand.
died for nothing.
You also have to understand that this message was also communicated in the beginning of the movie during the first fight with his supremacy, with Poe basically sacrificing everything, and Leia saying, you'd just be a dead hero. You wouldn't be helping us at all. So that message at the beginning circled back around when we got to Finn. So that's the reason why they did that. I'm fine with it. I mean, I'm okay with that.
If he had crashed in that pulse cannon, it would have blown it up from the inside out. And then they wouldn't have gotten in. And then they would have been like, hey, I think we can get out through these rocks. And they couldn't get in on the other side, so we're pretty much fine. We could probably walk home. Thanks, Finn. You saved our lives.
I disagree.
Sorry, Rose. That's okay. He's a hero.
He would have died for no goddamn reason.
Yeah.
I just met him an hour ago.
Okay, now to be fair, they were together for like 3 days.
3 days.
Rose and Finn.
Was that supposed to be like 3 days?
That was like 3
I lost
days.
sense of
It
how
felt
much
like we were in the
time.
movie for 3 days. The movie was a little long.
Wait, did their shields on their ship hold up from the Empire for like 3 days?
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are some shields.
Well, they were already.
It's a space,
It's a space opera.
Like,
Yeah.
what do you want?
Guys, I do not think I'm alone on that. Like, I'm outnumbered at the moment.
You just wanted Finn to die.
No, I actually found Finn to be one of the more entertaining characters.
Yeah.
But considering he used to be a part of the Empire and had basically felt that he had accomplished nothing in helping this, and he wanted to get back at the Empire that had taken so much from him, for him to blow up their giant pulse cannon, the only thing they had a chance to get in there, would have been really good for his character. Now, the movie doesn't have anywhere to go, if that's the case.
Right.
And Luke just sits on his home planet and goes, well, at least my rice-a-roni's ready.
I mean that is why I didn't bank on any one of the newer characters biting it yet, because this is still the middle chapter of 3 movies.
Yeah, we
So-
may lose somebody, but just not yet.
Not yet. He still has more, and that's why I was like, all right, that makes sense. I mean, if he died, would that work for the film? Yeah, it would, because the first shot of him is trying to bail out of the ship as it's getting attacked. So yeah, that would have made sense if he decides to sacrifice himself. Now, that isn't to say that's not going to happen in the third one, and now they've already played up on that. We've already seen it, and he might do something to make it so that she isn't able to save him next time. So I'm okay with that part. What did you think of the ridiculous porgs?
You mean the toys?
The
They didn't
toys.
bother me either way. I loved the Volplexes, the crystal foxes.
Those crystal foxes.
They were fucking cool looking, and I was like looking at the puppets.
So, I mean, this
that they
brought us and
used
shut up about the crystal
at
foxes.
ILM. Dude, well, I saw like this stupid thing on like, what was it, Think Geek or something? It's like a Porg stationery set. Get the fuck out of there with that shit. Give me the fucking Arctic foxes. They're like a million times cooler looking. Blah.
You know, I would almost prefer the Porgs to be shameless. I think they were trying to be clever about it. Like, oh, you don't see much of the Porgs, but the kids are still going to want that toy.
I liked that Chewie was eating a pork.
That was
great.
That was
Oh
to
my
appease
god,
us
that was
neckbeards.
hysterical.
I loved it.
Be like, oh, we're going to have a shameless, adorable little toy. Let's have Chewie eat one. So the older,
I thought Chewie should have eaten the
50-year-old
Ewok,
toy.
too.
Yeah. You know.
Thought Chewie should have eaten the Ewok.
Who says he didn't?
He probably did.
Remember that one that dies and the other one's like shaking his body? Chewie came over and ate it. Oh, God.
Fast food.
Every year I love that scene in Return of the Jedi, and she gives me that stink eye she's giving me right now.
So much side eye for
Yeah,
you fuckers right
yeah.
now. But no, the Porgs did literally nothing for me. They didn't charm me. They didn't annoy me. I didn't care about them either way.
Yeah.
That was it. I didn't care about them either way. Like I said, Arctic foxes all the way.
So basically, the Porgs were like the Dr. Pepper can in the background. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes,
Just,
they
look,
were.
Dr. Pepper wants their can in the background of our
Yeah.
scene. That's what the Porg was. Like, okay, we need to put our toy in the movie. It won't affect the movie too much, but we need to put our toy in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at least we saw Captain Toy's face. You know, this
Captain Toy's
Oh, Captain Phasma, excuse me. At least
Yeah,
she had a face this time.
You didn't. What? You saw an eyeball.
An eyeball, yeah. But she wasn't just a toy.
Poor Gwendolyn Christie.
Yeah, man, she's great. And like,
She's great and
there's
just
a
gets
ton that she
killed.
really
And she's
does.
dead. I'm sorry.
I
She's
know,
fucking dead.
I know. Do
Nobody
you guys want to hear
dies in
something
these
really,
movies.
really sad?
Yeah.
Kelly Tran used her paycheck from Star Wars to pay off her student loans. Just paid them.
How little did she make in this movie?
Well, I'm not saying that's all she spent it
Oh,
on,
okay.
but I think that was a large
Good
portion
for
of
her.
it.
I'm glad that she
Right?
no
Like,
longer has student loan
isn't
debt.
that fucking disparaging? Like you have to star in a fucking movie to pay off your student debt. Like that's disgusting to me.
But yeah, to me, I think that of the originals, so to speak, I did think that Mark Hamill brought it, but he was always the one that has just always been on board. I feel like Carrie Fisher showed up like to these readings, like for Force Awakens with her coffee. Oh, here we go again. And Harrison Ford's like, I'm only here because they're killing me. And Luke's just like, hey guys, and Mark comes in. This is awesome, guys. It's Star Wars. Woo! I want to be in 50 more.
and then they're like,
yeah.
Luke, we only need you for the last 5 minutes of this.
Take a hoodie
one.
off. Okay, cool.
So I'm gonna have big one the next one, right?
I didn't realize
You're gonna die.
I didn't realize it until we were at the theater, but I was very trepidatious about this film, like going into it. I was very nervous. I felt I felt dread going into it because I was like, what if it's fucking awful? Because the first one was, was good. And I was worried. And I realized that my biggest worry was Mark Hamill and Luke and what would happen. And when that, when the screen came up and we see what Rey's up to, like, I was like, is he really going to be Luke Skywalker? Am I really going to feel it? And he totally was, and I felt it. And I think that's what I was worried about most of all was that...
I never feared anything about him.
Well, and it wasn't anything like... I feel bad, like, Hamill, I'm sorry, I didn't have faith in you. But, like, I don't know, for some reason, that would have ruined the movie for me.
I think that's primarily because of the fact that he came out and publicly said, hey, they did stuff I didn't quite like. And we saw what those things were.
The balls on him to actually say his real feelings. And I'm not saying about Star Wars, but any movie. You go on the press tour and you're like, "Ooh, Frankenstein's the greatest movie ever made," because you're in it and you want people to go see it. Mark Hamill's like, zero fucks. He's like, "Yeah, I don't think they did a good job portraying."
He's just
me.
like, "What are you gonna do? Kill me?
Too late.
Too late. I'll be back in the next one."
Yeah.
But I thought his character was great as someone who, as I stated earlier in the podcast, is a flawed hero, and it's it's difficult to think of Luke Skywalker as having flaws. We haven't seen Luke Skywalker have flaws since A New Hope, when he was just starting out as the hero. His journey started then.
I mean, Empire, he was riddled with flaws. Remember, he took his weapons into the cave, and if he hadn't done that, he wouldn't have seen Vader. and then he wouldn't have seen his own face in Vader. Your weapons, you will not need them.
You will not need them, huh?
And he only saw Vader because he brought his weapons. He brought his fear with him.
No.
His fear that he tried to kill Ben with.
I mean, John, I'm not saying that the dark side wasn't.
You're making my point for me. By the way,
I'm just saying that
you seriously are.
Oh, I'm not saying I'm not. I'm saying I didn't. I'm saying I didn't like that.
Okay, but no, I thought he pulled it off great. I thought he was everything that Luke Skywalker should be,
and he wasn't Ben Kenobi. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just like the old guy in the robes.
No,
he still was kind of like bitchy, like whiny.
Oh yeah,
like I don't know, but that's like what I needed.
He still had a little bit of his dad in him. Okay,
yeah, that's what I needed. I needed a little bit of that cookie puss,
or,
you know,
or Uncle Owen. Yeah.
No, that was all Anakin there.
Uncle Doug.
And did anybody else get rock hard when he drank the blue milk and it was all over his beard?
Dude, that just was funny. Like, I thought that was such a cool like moment because it was something defiant, you know, like that you would see, you know, spunky little Luke Skywalker do. I don't know. I loved it.
Yeah, defiant, like throwing his lightsaber off a cliff.
Yeah, and like I don't know, it just was funny because like, you know, I know Mark Hamill himself had some problems with the script and he kind of aired a lot of that, you know, saying how he didn't like it, you know, like we said, but I don't know. I just I think he took what the script was in front of him and he did a good job, you know, I think.
What did you think of Benicio del Toro's character?
Pointless. Like I don't know.
Well, all of the whole casino thing, Casino Planet was pointless, but I thought his character was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I loved his character, and I love that he pointed out just how flawed this whole thing is. Yeah, you blow them up tomorrow, they'll blow you up the
You know
next
what?
day.
I love that part.
Yeah.
That was kind of neat.
Because
I love that
essentially,
part.
our heroes are terrorists.
Yes, they are.
The terrorists
cool.
on the side of right, but
yeah.
they're still terrorists. It's
true.
Well, I mean, the First Order thinks what they're doing is right too.
Yeah, they're terrorists in power. You know?
Yeah.
So it's terrorists versus terrorists.
Yeah. But I mean, I liked his character. I mean, in my head, again, I watched the Star Wars YouTube videos that are always on. I was like, oh, he's gonna be, Ezra Bridger from Star Wars Rebels, because I'm like, oh, they'll tie it in with that, and he wasn't, at least as far as we know, he isn't.
No.
But I like the fact that he basically illustrated, as you said, the pointless nature of war, even in, outer space. The fact that, you'll win this one, they'll win the next one. It's an endless cycle. These rich assholes are going to make money off of you.
It reminds me of like Children of Men, the opening scene in that movie when Clive Owen gets the coffee and he leaves the coffee shop and it blows up. Like, okay, I don't care who's on the side of what. I almost died. Hundreds of people just died. So much destruction of property. Like, but the heroes in the movie are like, aren't you guys so glad we're saving you? No, you're burning our houses down.
Yeah.
Ships are crashing into our supermarkets. Like, fuck you guys. We're just trying to live our lives, and you're living this holy crusade.
Yeah.
We're just trying to make it.
No, I definitely liked it. So, let me ask you this. Where do you think this story is going to go?
I refuse to ponder. I
Really?
really like reading about it. I've loved Star Wars much more than anyone probably ever should for a very long time. And, I think that I'm happiest when I don't, kill myself with theories and the speculation. My only expectation and hope is just that they tell a good fucking story. Like, that's what I want. I want it to be satisfying. I would like there to be some Carrie Fisher in it. I know they're not going to do any digital, but I'm hoping they shot some stuff before that ends up in the
They'll figure out
film.
with what they have. And they might do like a what was
Time
Bruce Lee's
jump.
kid's name?
Like a body
Brandon.
double?
Brandon Lee, like Crow stuff there. I don't know where she's in the shadows.
Because they
or
said they weren't going to do digital, but they may do, real
behind
world
the
stuff.
shoulder, or
Yeah.
you hear her like in another room or something.
I think it might be something where she gets blown up.
All right.
It could be, but I mean, I'd like to see a little bit more.
She goes
but
on a
I'm-
ship, the ship gets blown up.
I'm
Well,
not
guys-
ready to say goodbye yet.
I have a question to throw at you guys, and I know this is going to sound absurd because I opened the show saying that I actually did enjoy this movie. But just to reiterate, when it comes to Disney Star Wars, I've divorced myself from my emotional connection to Star Wars. And some people that listen to the show might think I don't like Star Wars, but in my bedroom I have a Star Wars trash can. I have Star Wars above my bed. I have Star Wars dolls above my bed because I'm a giant man baby. There's Star Wars all over my home. I'm obsessed with Star Wars, actually.
Inside this room that we're in podcasting is a great deal of fandom and Star Wars.
I really do love Star Wars, but I'm very cynical about the movie making process. So when I went into this, I didn't even really look at it as a Star Wars movie. I looked at it as a space film, and I was like, okay, as a film, did I like it? I thought it had a lot of flaws, but I thought it was a fun space, catch him, can you catch him if you can kind of movie. But now, having said that, because I've separated myself from Star Wars, is Star Wars creatively bankrupt?
No.
I don't think so.
No, I don't.
Mm-mm.
I think they might be, because I feel that episode 10, 11, and 12 is going to be about, her daughter or son who ends up, disturbing the Force, and a new teacher and a mentor.
Here's why I disagree with you on that one. Rian Johnson is doing 10, 11, 12. He's the one who's doing that. He's taking control of that trilogy. So if he's going into this with this attitude of, I'm going to take the conventions and just basically do my own thing and make something that is original. That's the one thing you can say, is that this movie is original.
I'm just gonna cut you off just because.
Why are you cutting me off?
I think my point. I think you guys might be missing my point. Is there anything that's really that original when it comes to good guys versus bad guys, lightsaber battles, big space destroying lasers?
This movie was original. This particular movie, Last Jedi, was original compared to every other Star Wars film that we've seen prior.
But they still had a Palpatine. They still had a Vader. That
Palpatine got killed.
This movie, to
Luke
me,
Skywalker was flawed.
In a lot of ways, was Empire and Jedi. We had them both in there, and unless they radically go to different stories,
that's what they're planning on doing. They're planning on not following the Skywalker clan. They're basically ending that with 9. I think
we're going to see a big giant space laser and a good guy who has the Force who has to stop a bad guy and an old man in a cloak.
John, I think it's really easy for you to think that Star Wars is creatively bankrupt. When I took all this time and I saw the first wave of movies, and in my lifetime I've seen Star Wars movies reflect my experience. I saw the princess become a general. I saw these women that are in prominent roles now where the woman is the hero. For me, that's everything. I mean, they've done a complete 180 on these stories, and I think that maybe that doesn't mean anything to you personally, and that's okay, because you're a dude and you're used to seeing your heroes reflected back at you, and they look like you and they're the same as you. But seeing Holdo, seeing Rey, seeing Leia, I'm a grown-ass fucking woman, and seeing those women in power, that makes me feel like a little kid. I can't imagine what that would be like if I was 12 and seeing these for the first time. That's the real breakthrough of these new films. We have a new era. We have new ways of telling stories. And two, to even see the diversity. I'm not saying it's off the charts. There was a lot of white people in that movie, but it's everything, to see yourself reflected back. To have someone, look the same as you, that's the way we tell stories now. You tell little girls that they can be the fucking hero and that they don't have to be hard to do it. They can have purple hair and they can save everybody by sacrificing what they think is right, or they can go in search of knowledge, and that you don't need a goddamn love story to have a happy ending. That's the real new era of Star Wars, and that's its new strength.
We had a love story though.
Not really.
What love story?
Not really.
Between Finn and
that was hinted. That was hinted at. That wasn't even really.
And Rose cared about him a lot.
Yeah, but but think of Empire and think of Attack of the Clones.
Yeah,
think of how shoehorned.
Do not compare. Do not put Empire and Attack of the Clones in the same sentence.
In terms of the love story that develops there. There really was no hint of that in A New Hope, or even in Phantom Menace. There was a little bit in Phantom Menace that hit that, but then it was creepy because he was a little kid.
I feel the Star Wars story has been told. Now, this one's going to make $20 trillion, and they're going to say, well, no, it's not, ching ching. But I don't think that we need any more Star Wars stories, because they've been told, and we're just going to get more and more of the same story again.
I don't.
But can't you just let people like things? the fans where it does mean something to. I mean, like, that's worth something, isn't it?
Sure. I'm not saying that people can't go and enjoy them. I asked if it was creatively bankrupt.
No, you asked if they should continue being made. That's what you're asking.
Well,
listen,
sometimes
here's
you just have
the
to let
thing.
people like things.
Here's the thing. We live in a culture in which things are going to get made whether we like it or not. We live in a culture in which if they're going to make money, they're going to make it. Okay? I hate reality TV shows. Okay? This is a good example.
That's because they're
I
horrible.
fucking hate them. They are the bane of my existence.
They're kind of like Top Chef.
Okay.
I usually watch it hungry.
Top Chef is good.
That's different. But I'm just saying,
yeah.
I, for the most part, despise reality TV. I think, with the exception of Let's Play videos being the lowest form of entertainment, reality TV shows are god-awful. But they continue to make them. And they continue to make them because advertisers continue to make money off of it. So they're going to continue to make these movies. We have no say in that. The only way they'll stop is when they don't make any more money. So that is a cynical part of me. And that is also the reason why I think that come episode 9, they're going to throw the fans a bone. Because they're going to bring JJ back, and he's going to throw some member berries in it. I think episode 9 is going to be honestly a mixture of episode 8 and episode 7 smash into one. You're going to have a little bit of what works of the new nuances of episode 8 smashed in with some member berries, because that is ultimately what Disney cares about.
So
now,
the Empire has already won.
Yeah, but my point is that with the sequel, the additional movies that they want to make 10, 11, and 12, the fact that they have already stated that this will not follow the Skywalker family, it won't have anything to do with it, it'll exist in the same universe and explore new characters and have Rian Johnson involved with it. That gives me a little bit of hope, because he at least proved in this movie that he's not afraid to basically say, fuck you, I'm going to actually concentrate on telling a movie from start to finish that is not following your fandom. I like that. That's something we haven't seen before.
We'll see how that goes, because every single movie has been, connected to something we've seen before. We've had The Force Awakens, which is the continuation of the story. We had the in-between story of how they got the pieces of the Death Star, like the plans. We got more of the Skywalker family, and now we're getting a Han Solo prequel. So everything has been something that we very, very intimately been connected with. We'll see what happens if this series actually does verge into something that's not something we all know.
The thing is this, I've already seen that happen with Rebels. That's one of the reasons why people love Rebels.
Dude, there's so much good content that can be out there, and the fact that it hints at things a little bit.
And they do bring in characters who are
Darth
like, yeah, we know them.
And, we know them, but like it is so fresh, and you get invested in their struggles too. Like, yeah, that is what tells me that there is hope for the franchise. But they need to put those ideas in the forefront, and I hope that Lucasfilm realizes and Disney realizes like how valuable something like Rebels is, because those stories are they're awesome. I mean, like, I love that show.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, spirited debate, guys.
I know. I feel like I got like mad in the moment. I'm sorry for a couple of times, guys.
If you're just
like,
joining us because you haven't seen Last Jedi.
if you skip the hour,
for the first time in the show, Lane legit came at me, bro.
I know, you made me mad.
Well, and the thing was, I was making a sardonic joke on your side, and you chewed my head off.
I know. You made me upset.
I thought you quite literally were going to strangle him with your microphone cable.
It's funny. Like, a part of me knew you were being sardonic, but sometimes when you hear like misogynistic or anti-feminist things all day long, like, it's even just hearing the words when you don't hear it as a joke anymore. Especially, like, I don't want to pull like the rank on you guys, but like, it's different as a woman. Like, when you hear that shit all day long, even when someone says it as a joke, it just brings your hackles up so far. Yeah,
no, Lane, you're a woman, Brian, you're Jewish, and I'm the problem.
Wow, that was
wowie. Yeah.
How dare you?
So, Lane, where can they find you at on the Twitters?
Oh, yeah, dude. I'm on Twitter at LA_Croft. Bring me your fan theories. Bring it. Let's talk Star Wars.
John?
Yeah, I'm at the Unreal J Wolves, and if you do want to have a respectful conversation with me on Twitter about Star Wars, I will happily talk back and forth with you. if you come at me, bro, I'll probably ignore you. If you're one of those crazed fans out there. But feel free to say, John, I completely disagree with you. And I'll have a very respectful conversation with you.
Yeah.
I welcome the crazy. I'll just block you.
You can find me at Brian Coddington. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google+, at Psycho Show. You can also find us on the Epicast Network at epiccastnetwork.com. If you have a favorite movie or question you want to throw away, you want to talk to us about your theories, your Snoke theories, or your Rey theories, or your any sort of thing Star Wars theories, you can contact us at cinemapsychoshow.com. And make sure to subscribe to us on iTunes. Send us a rate, send us a review. We love getting those. Also, make sure to check out Psychos Nation, our new newsletter. If you want to sign up for that, just go onto our website and fill out the subscription sign-up form that's up there. And be sure to catch our new episodes available every Sunday.
It would have been better with Jar Jar.
You hurt my insides.
Epicast.